everybody. This meeting of the School Board of Trustees, subject to the open meeting law, is being recorded in accordance with sections 2-2-301, 2-3-202, 2-3-203, and 2-3-214 Montana Code annotated. Members of the board, staff, and public in attendance are advised that the public portion of the meeting will be recorded in both an audio and video format. Cameras and recording devices are placed throughout the meeting room to complete these recordings. Everyone in attendance is reminded to honor basic rules of decorum during the meeting and guidance associated with providing public comment as stated in policy 1420F. By remaining in the meeting, those present consent to being recorded and displayed in footage that will be posted on the school district's website. There will be an opportunity for community comment on non-agenda items, and we will actually start with one of those.
Hi everyone, I know most of you, but I am Madison Miller. I'm the Executive Director at the Boys and Girls Club. I met with Tom today regarding a potential contract for school year busing for 26 and 27 school year. This past school year, since we've been over at Central, we have been busing students over, our new building in 2020. We've been busing students over from West Side to our club site, which is across the street from Central. We have a CDL bus driver that's on staff. She had some medical issues and has been unable to drive bus for us at September. Between Mr. Sukit, Tracy, and Miss Vandal, from September through the entire school year, the school district has been providing busing free of charge. However, as we move into the school year, we're hoping to get a contract so that we can pay the school and then also have some consistent busing and not have to worry about what that might look like for us in the future to have that contract and solidified. We're always looking for bus drivers. We've been looking all year long, but the same issues that we run into, the school district runs into as well. And we're hopeful that our bus driver, she will be able to return. Her capacity and when that might be is still up in the air. She's still on medical leave. So Tom told me I should come to you guys and present this to you all and that we would discuss further at the next board meeting.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think Tom's working out kind of a plan and he'll just present at the next board meeting and we'll go from there.
We looked at today the attendance records from West Side students that would come from West Side to Central or our site. We usually use the transfer bus over. And it's been as low as 18 and the highest was 48.
In one day?
Yes.
And you do the half day kids, you do a lunch run and then after school too?
Yeah, the lunch run we provide. We have a van that we do that. It's just the big bus that would need 48 kids at most. It's usually quite a lot in August when school year.
48 kids on a bus? What's the capacity of a full bus?
82.
Yeah, we've got multiple.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a bus that we use and it can fit around 55 if we have them packed in. They're younger elementary school students, so they're quite energetic. So 55 on a bus can feel like a lot.
Like a long ride
I've been
across
on
the
a
Yeah.
I've been on one of those buses and I can agree to that.
Yeah.
So, do the regular buses go from Central to West Side always?
They go.
There is a transfer.
There's a
bus.
transfer that goes from West Side to
Oh,
Central,
yeah.
and they might also go from
They do go
the
back.
back.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But they start at West Side.
All the
West Side-
buses for pickup start at West Side?
Yeah.
And then they go to Central, and then the high school?
I don't think I realized that there was a
I think they
separate
go to middle school
bus
first.
for
Okay.
the Boys and Girls Club. I figured they all just rode the transfer bus. So,
It's the transfer bus that they jump on.
but you want like a specific bus just for
I'm okay with it still being the
Okay.
transfer bus.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
that's what they're currently using.
Okay,
Students pay to use the transfer bus monthly, and we were not paying last school
got
year.
it. Okay, so they're not paying to use that.
Yes, yeah.
And I'll have more information. We just met this morning, so I didn't have time to get anything put together for the
Okay.
meeting tonight, anything finalized with them, but we'll meet again in August and we can approve it in August.
Sounds good.
Cool, thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much. Okay, move to superintendent report.
All right, superintendent report, Mr. Sukit is not here tonight, so I'm filling in for him for the board meeting. I'm not gonna go through the enrollments, it's the same as it was at the earlier June one. In your packets, and the reason they're so thick this time around, I have included our strategic plan, our graduate profile, and our professional development plan. because we talk about those at the meetings, but some of the newer board members maybe don't know what those documents are. So they are included in here. I don't know if she has a page numbered in here, but that would take you through page 27. For those documents, nothing that we really need to go through tonight. I am looking at keeping our strategic plan the way it is for one more year, so I can get my feet on the ground as well. And then probably next year, we'll be having some community members, board members, students and teachers all get together and reevaluate the next 5 to 10 years for the school district.
We did that, Mr. Silk set that up when we developed this whole thing, and we had several meetings. You know, we'll try to invite some community members. We also invited some students of different grades and different activities just to get different perspectives.
Is it done every time there's a new superintendent, or is
No,
it
no,
like
no.
that?
We
Okay.
hadn't really done it, and we did it then, and then the admin team has kind of got together since then and kind of touched it up and adjusted some things.
Yeah, so the original, you set a 5-year plan and a 10-year plan, and this is actually gonna be the 6th year of our 5-year plan.
Okay.
So we are due to go back and redo that, but I would like to have a year to get my feet on the ground and learn everything else about the job and not tackle that one right away.
Yeah, we had an MTSBA person come and kind of guide us.
I will
through
probably
this.
run it myself this time.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's nice if you know some parents that you think would be good participants. It's nice to have views of the parents as well. So, buildings and grounds, we're gonna skip down to Central School. Just so you know, as of this afternoon or late this morning, I got a call from Mrs. Romo for the 3rd time in 2 years. A rock has been thrown through the glass backboards at Central, shattering the backboard. Replacements for these backboards runs about $1,600 to $1,800 each time they're broken. The playground is currently closed until further notice because we don't want anybody over there until we can get the backboard removed, and we don't want the glass flying all over the place.
So this was the other one.
Yes.
So they have no.
This is
hoops
the
right
east
now.
one. There are no hoops over there. These were hoops that were donated by Jeremy Norby, and they went with a glass backboard. And when you have rocks on the playground, we know who the first 2 were. The first student, I think we charged the family 50% of the cost of replacing. The second time, I don't think they were charged anything because it hasn't been replaced. And she's going to be looking at video to see if we can identify who the person was for this last time.
The second time, was it an accident? Or
Yeah,
was-
no.
The second
It
time
was
was
rock.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah, the second one.
I just,
Can
Yeah,
we
they've all
replace-
3 been
Intentional?
somebody throwing a rock at the backboard. They probably don't know that it's glass. They probably think that it's plexiglass and it's going to bounce off, but it doesn't. It shatters. So we've looked at possibly taking the measurements that are currently there and custom ordering plexiglass to install,
Yeah.
so that we don't have to keep replacing them. I don't know if I'm going to leave it up to the board whether you guys want me to pursue them paying for it. If you want it turned over to law enforcement for vandalism, whatever you wish for me to do, I will do on that. So
I mean, it's probably a good idea, cause, and
Can
then
you
also.
reach out to the parents first and say,
Oh,
hey,
yeah.
your kid did this, can you pay for it?
I would
If
agree.
not, then you can take further steps.
But yeah, looking at a different option, even if we have to go back to metal,
yeah.
you know, we can put,
Yeah.
get it
They
painted or
talked
wrap on
about
it.
just ordering in new baskets and putting them in there, but this was a community donation.
Yeah,
and
so
it's
the
really
project,
good.
yeah, the project started as Central's actually doing fundraising, like selling candy or something, and they wanted to do something special with the money. And so it was gonna be the backboards, and then Jeremy Norby stepped in and paid for them, anyways, after we got the new concrete pad and stuff, so. So yeah, it's unfortunate that they've basically been minimally useful since they got put in, cause it was a great idea,
Yeah, they were really nice.
yeah, it just, unfortunately.
So the playground will open up again once Martin can get over there and get that backboard down, so we can have glass flannel people over there.
Are the ones at the middle school plexiglass?
I honestly don't know. I've never been on that court since they opened it.
They're glass. Okay, yeah, I mean, I wasn't sure if they were glass or plexiglass. Weird that, I mean, I guess there's not rocks right there, which helps.
Yeah.
Can a basketball break them, or does it have to be like a point on
No,
the
it'd
rock?
have to be a point.
Yeah.
Cause these are like literally gym quality, you know, like you'd have in a standard indoor gym. So yeah, their quality is just, you throw rocks or pointy objects at them, it breaks.
Also included in here under buildings and ground, I have the quote from Portland to put pea gravel. They recommend going 3 inches deep or 2 inches deep. I can't remember what he told me on that. and based upon the square footage of that, you're looking at $5,444. Right now, if you go over there and walk, especially between the basketball court and the building itself, there is very little gravel, if any, there. So pretty much anytime somebody falls, they're going to cut themselves open. So I think that it's a project we're probably gonna have to look at doing. Also on there is a quote from Cortland to replace 8 sections that are broken on the sidewalk on the northeast side of the building. And the quote for that is $4,620. And that includes them coming in and tearing out the broken out pieces and replacing them. We're probably gonna have to replace pieces consistently throughout. They did give us a quote for replacing the entire length of sidewalk, and it was like $15,000 or $16,000 to do that. So.
Yeah, well, those will fall under your limit, I believe, so.
Yeah.
So.
I told them right now just to look at just replacing the.
Yep.
Whatever it is.
No, you can move forward. That
Okay.
doesn't need our approval.
Professional and educational services agreement. This is an agreement with a company that we are using to bring in potential special ed teachers out of the Philippines. It's a company that Michelle researched and contacted, and Mr. Sukin has already signed a contract with them for this year. It costs us some money to bring them in. Their insurance is covered through their program, not through us, so we won't be paying any insurance for any of that.
What page are you on?
This is
Those
up to
page
page
numbers.
47, so it's page number
32.
32 through 47 is the contract. We are currently short, Carl, remind me if I'm wrong here, but we are short 1 at the high school, 2 at Central, or 2 at middle school? Or just 1?
One
at middle school.
1 at the middle school and 1 at West Side.
Sorry.
No, it's 2 at the middle
It's 2 at the
school,
middle school.
1 at
the high
Central,
school.
and 1 at the high school.
Okay, the Central one, we're gonna talk about that one, we're gonna fill. So we're still looking for 3 special ed teachers, and they are difficult. We contacted Scobie. They've had some good success with their program who they're with, and so Michelle did the research and we went ahead and signed a contract with these guys for.
Okay.
What grade are they looking for at Central? What grade?
We were looking for
Just
4th
general.
grade, but we've got an interior transfer that we'll talk about later on. We'll take care of that. Page 48, I guess, was just the cost summary for us. It's gonna cost us $2,000 per educator to bring them in, and the administration fee is $5,500 per educator. So we're looking at about $7,500 per educator out of our cost to bring them in, but then we're saving that by not having to provide insurance for them, so.
Okay.
The insurance requirements, I guess, we're still going on. That goes up to page 51, and that's just the information on what they're gonna cover as we go through this. Transfer requests, the first one in here is for Kaylee Cardell. She has completed the first part of the paraprofessional program, and is now working towards an actual special ed certification. And she has asked to be transferred from the paraprofessional position into the 4th grade special ed position at Central Elementary.
With that,
Yeah.
because I know, I guess, just for clarification, when they have to do, like, will she still need to do like a student teaching portion with this?
You know, I'm not 100% sure how the special education program is set up. I would be surprised if she didn't have to do some sort of a practicum
Right.
or a special education.
Because,
She'll do an emergency license.
Yeah,
right, yeah, I know
She'll-
now, but,
As she works through her program, she'll do a practicum, both at, she'll have to hit at least upper elementary and lower elementary, depending on which
Okay.
program she's in.
Yeah.
What's the timeline to complete that?
3 years straight
Usually
is what they give.
they give them, but I think she's progressed.
Yeah, she's pretty motivated to get through it.
yeah, I was just wondering, because I think like Cheryl Hansen at one point was kind of doing this, but then had to basically be unpaid
Yeah.
to do each
This
semester.
particular section, we had to
Yeah.
take her for that.
Okay.
Was Mrs. Shep another one of the,
She has done that as well, yeah. We've had 3 or 4 that have gone through and done that for us.
and they've all received their teaching
They
license?
have. The problem you run into sometimes, the way it was set up before was that they would receive tenure before they've completed their certification. My recommendation would be if they haven't completed it in 3 years, we non-renew, and then we can rehire. but that way they don't get tenure. Because it gets scary when you're offering tenure to somebody that hasn't completed teaching degree.
Have Cheryl Hansen and Tanya Shep, have they completed?
Yes.
They both have teaching license.
Yep, Wanda Benson finished hers up.
Yeah, we just voted on that the other day.
We have a lot of teachers that have gone through this in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the middle school English teacher that we hired, finished up hers. We have one other one that's finishing it up, student teaching as well. So it's not unusual. It's nice that community members step up to help us out in a time of need.
Yeah.
And honestly, they've all turned into be pretty solid teachers for us. So resignation. We have a couple resignations. Jared Jurgens is resigning from assistant high school baseball. Oh wait, I had one more transfer. Excuse me. Maddie, they want to transfer Maddie Peters to high school volleyball because Madison Miller is resigning.
Okay.
So they want to do a transfer of her up to the high school volleyball. Jared Jurgens is resigning as assistant high school baseball coach, and
Are we talking about
Jackie
Tracy?
Miller, not Maddie Miller. I'm sorry.
Tracy's
Jackie
leaving
Miller
us?
is resigning
Are we
as
talking about Tracy?
eventually yes.
Oh, okay.
It's not going in order
Not as
here.
not as volleyball. Well, I'm going off the packet that I have put here. So,
Okay.
That's fine. Tracy was listening.
they snuck stuff in there on me that
That's
wasn't in there. Jackie Miller was not Madison Miller. Jackie Miller was the assistant high school volleyball coach, and she has resigned, and that's where they're moving Maddie Peters into. And then also the resignation of the district clerk, Tracy Clark. Superintendent report, we've talked about the enrollment.
This is just a meeting minute.
It's the meeting minutes. Why doesn't that say minutes on the top of mine?
It doesn't on mine either, but, or no, it does. Board of trustee minutes.
Alright, yeah, these are the meeting minutes from your first meeting that you had in June. And then there are some budgeted expenditures and budget reports that Tracy didn't have for the first meeting that are ready for this meeting. There is also a contract in here that I'm going to, it's on the consent agenda. I'm gonna ask to remove it from the consent agenda and table it until the next meeting in August.
Okay.
Because the contract that's in here is not amended to the contract that she sent us, and I did not receive the one updated one from you today. So I'm gonna ask that we remove that and
Works for me.
alright, so are we ready for the consent agenda then?
Absolutely.
Alright, consent agenda, approval of minutes. All recorded board meeting minutes must be reviewed and approved at the following board meeting. As you review the meeting minutes, please make note of any additions or changes that need to be made. Recommendation is to approve the board meeting minutes for board meeting on June 8th, 2026 with any noted necessary and agreed upon changes. Warrants and claims, in accordance with Board Policy 7326, all financial obligations and disbursements must be properly documented. The documentation must specifically describe the goods, services acquired, and the proper budget item for appropriations. Recommendations to approve all claims, payments, and cancellations as presented. District vehicles for bid. Under Policy 7251, the board is authorized to dispose of site, building, or other real or personal property of the district that is abandoned, obsolete, undesirable, or unsuitable for school purposes. The district is looking to put 2 former traffic education vehicles up for bid, a 2006 Jeep Cherokee and a 2012 Dodge Caravan. Recommendation is to approve the listing for the 2006 Jeep Cherokee and the 2012 Caravan up for bid. And then we are going to table the school psychologist, and I do not have any new hires at this point.
Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
I have a question. Did I see, the vice principal job at the middle school?
That's coming up later.
Okay. I did look over the packet.
Yeah, that's a discussion agenda.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I put the packet together, so it's out of order.
Yeah, no, we're
That
good.
explains a lot. Okay,
Hold on,
transfer.
we haven't voted.
Oh, I thought you already did. You said.
It's
Ah,
moved
Any
and
more
moved and
discussion?
seconded. Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Amber? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
All right, on the discussion agenda, transfer, from some land outside of Savage to the Savage district. It was denied by, Superintendent Tharp because it was vague in what they were requesting. And they only had listed the elementary school district, and it's actually land that is both the elementary and the high school district, so they have reapplied, addressing those concerns. From Sidney District 5 and Sidney District 1 to Savage Elementary District 7 and Savage High School District 2. Other than that, the cadastral and everything is the same as it was in the previous report that you approved. And I gotta find where all this ends up so we get to.
92 is your wording.
Alright, so as originally discussed at the monthly board meeting in March, Savage is requesting that City Public Schools transfer 2 parcels of land totaling about 6.7 acres. The property taxes received by the district for these acres is approximately $388 per year. The board originally approved this transfer on May 18th at the monthly meeting. However, the transfer was denied by County Superintendent Tim Tharp due to concerns with ambiguous wording on the original request. There is 1 child between the 2 households that attend Savage Elementary School. The land is already in Savage High School District. In looking at the difference between what the district gains in tuition costs for these students to attend Savage, we will be money ahead by transferring the land to the district. So the recommendation is to accept the request to transfer the listed land from Sidney Elementary District to Savage Elementary District.
I have a motion.
I'll move.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
So this is the same thing.
It's the same thing, it's just a word.
It's the same land, they just didn't have it for both the high school and elementary district in Savage, so they had to reapply.
So it is actually the high school district too, that we're
Yes.
moving over.
Yes,
Is there actually only 1 child between those 2 households?
that's what the
Because
petition
That's
said.
in school right now.
It's in school.
I don't think
Cause
that's,
that's.
Or that, I think, I don't know.
isn't it
I was
Cody
gonna say,
Fisher?
yeah,
She's
they
got
got 5
5,
kids.
does she more?
I don't
No,
know.
it's not
in school. She has 5.
She has 5 and I think at least 3 of them are elementary. We're related,
On their petition, they have the child residing at this address attend Savage School.
but that
which is-
might be Amanda Bunting's.
Yeah.
Anyway, doesn't matter. Okay, that's my discussion.
Yeah, it actually saves us even more money if they have 5
Yeah,
kids,
true.
so.
Yeah.
Yeah, down the road, this works out in our favor no matter what. So yeah, been moved and seconded. Anything else? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Amber? Opposed? Motion carries. Lisa must be on too.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm guessing.
The next one on there is the middle school assistant principal job description. In order for us to officially list the job, it is currently posted, but in order for us to officially list it, you guys have to accept the job description for this position. A lot of what we did is we took the job description for the high school assistant principal's position, and then we tailored it down to what Jordan felt she would need for this position. A couple of the key things that we have added to it is that they'll work with the activity director to host the tournaments and community events that take place there. They will also work as the district testing coordinator. They'll
Who's
be
the current-
responsible for making sure that the testing is taking place correctly at all the buildings throughout the district.
who's the current coordinator?
Um,
Yeah, there you go.
And then also, the early childhood literacy coordinator to make sure that we are correctly putting information into Infinite Campus. Early childhood literacy and early childhood numeracy is a new program from the state that we receive additional A and B for students that qualify in grades K through third grade. Once they complete 3rd grade, they no longer qualify. And this is additional funding to try to get all these students on track to be at grade level by grade 3. Currently, right now, I'm also the coordinator of that.
I was gonna say, is that you too?
That's me.
Okay.
That's mostly just paperwork and putting stuff into IC to take care of that. Other than that, it's pretty straightforward as to what a traditional assistant principal would be doing. They would serve or be able to assist in annual performance evaluations for building level staff. And I believe as of today, Lauren said that there have been 2 applications for the position.
I have a question.
And for clarification, that means we wouldn't hire a separate middle school AD,
No.
right? This would be.
We would not have to have.
That was a stipend position this year.
Yeah.
And so instead of paying a stipend for someone to fill that role, the
Chris do middle school AD when
He
was here?
did, but when Ashley was hired, that was part of that process, was she felt she needed help with that. And in the past, we've also had, like, Rayanne did that, some of that a year or two, you know, it's kinda hit or miss. But, yeah, that was part of the process with, when Chris left, was that was a, you know, the job is a lot based on time, and so they felt that it was good to have the middle school, have someone as a, you know, handle that stuff for the middle school, and it was a stipend position, and actually, when we did negotiations, they wanted to include that in the master agreement, but we pulled it out as a listed spot, not because this was coming, just enrollment being down, activities being down, you know, it's like, let's not commit ourselves to this forever. If, you know, we get to a point where we definitely don't need someone to do that job, so, yeah, it's just a thing of like, when you didn't have this position, you know, and you function without it, is it warranted to have the position? I think so, but then also looking at, you know, some of the needs of the district of passing those, you know, needs on, and obviously this year will be an evaluation year for a lot of things, you know, as we are, you know, a new superintendent, you know, we're putting on pause essentially for next year, the curriculum director, which we will fill in the future, it's just, we're putting on pause for this year, new district clerk, you know, we're adding positions, so try to see how this functions, and then, you know, we can evaluate going into next year of like, was this stuff too much? Cause again, we're gonna have a brand new curriculum director also, you know, and expecting them to do the job that Tom's done when he's done it for 13 years, of, you know, where he's comfortable, so if we can take some of that away also, cause to be fair, Tom probably worked a few more hours than he was required to, in the past, so.
Has your role, has it been filled yet?
The
My
curriculum-
position?
No,
No,
we're
we're not gonna fill it, we're gonna go a year without filling that position, I'm gonna remain as curriculum director, and I will also, I can't remember what the other job was, but anyway, the grant writing.
So what was the grant writing?
I'll
Oh,
be,
yeah.
so I'll be taking care of
Yeah,
the
oh, right,
grant writing.
superintendent.
And then, yeah, there's a superintendent, so.
Yeah.
But I think that that's doable for this year, I got rid of the little things that take up time are the things that I got rid of.
And those are some of the things that are going into that?
Yeah, the testing
Got it, okay.
coordinators and stuff like that
Okay.
were,
Yep.
you know, there's training you have to do,
Mhm.
and then you have to make sure that everybody, you have to get the shipments back and forth to where they need to go, it's little things that take up time here and there. Lana Buchanan's gonna take on the English language students and the homeless students for me, so I won't have to work with those. Any other discussion? Okay, over the past decade, this position has evolved through several configurations, including Dean of Students and Behavior Specialist. With Principal Huffman entering her first year in the role, the district chose not to fill the position during the past year in order to assess building and district needs more effectively. Following that review, I recommend reestablishing the position as an administrative role. The proposed job description will include traditional assistant principal responsibilities along with oversight of district testing and early childhood literacy initiatives. Recommendation is to approve the middle school assistant job description as written.
Okay, do you have a motion?
I'll move.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion?
Who hires? Who do the applicants go to? You? Just you?
No,
No,
there'll be a team that does the
Yeah.
interviews. Usually,
Once
a
we
couple
get it,
of-
we'll have a team. Some of the applicants, the principals have written letters of recommendation for, so they won't be able to serve on the team.
Hmm.
So we're gonna probably want at least one board member on the team, and I will sit in on it, and, Jordan can sit in on it, and we'll go from there. It's nice to have 4 or 5 people if we can, just to
Mhm.
make sure everybody's hearing the same thing.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep.
Anything else on that one?
Okay.
Okay.
Hold on. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those in favor
Aye.
say aye.
Aye.
On the phone, Amber, Lisa?
I thought they already voted.
Opposed? Motion carried.
All right. Trying to get through this because then I saw.
It's fine. I don't know.
Last one, 26-27 student handbook changes for the high school. And Carl is here to help me out with these. With the AI one, Carl, what was the big change with that one?
Just the acknowledgement in the handbook, the AI policy stuff, but we're seeing a lot of, cheating,
Mm-hmm.
essentially, and turning in work, so making sure that our plagiarism, policy is matching what the norms are. So that's the big one, for that, and that we have detection tools and things like that we can utilize to, they're not perfect, but they're pretty good, so.
What do you use? I mean,
What do we
what,
use?
like, what do you
All
use to
kind of
monitor?
draft back, Brisk, Grammarly now has, which the district uses, has like this appears to be, this has been detected as AI, right? But, yeah.
Are the papers submitted electronically now? And so they can run them?
Yeah,
Almost
so
everything's through Google Docs.
How long time
all
does that
our-
been going on?
Almost all of our English stuff is submitted through
Okay.
Workable Submission, so that it's printed in, so that they can get feedback.
If they do it in Google Docs, you can actually see
Draft
the
back,
real
yeah.
time, yeah.
Yep, and Brisk does it, it's an add-on that you can actually pull up and it'll pull how much is copied and pasted in, and it can show you incidents, and so we've gotten pretty good at being able to detect it, and to be honest, for the most part, not, I wouldn't say any more cheating and plagiarism than we probably ever dealt with, just a different form, so.
Mhm.
So just trying to stay ahead of it and make sure that kids are making the right choices, so. Is that one good?
The next one is the co-curricular club opt-out form.
So state law, legislature passed that we have to list all of our clubs. It doesn't have really anything to do with Sidney. All of our clubs are listed with a description in our handbook. Now there has to be a form that says that I acknowledge that my kids can be in the following or in all of them. It'll go in the handbook, it'll be part of the return policy, that comes back with the student, at the beginning of the year. What they had happening were, secret organizations, not secret, but organizations that weren't being disclosed to parents, that students were being either encouraged or allowed to participate, even though parents had said that they didn't want them to. With the parental rights in school, there was a big push, not happening necessarily in Sidney. Everything that we do is on the front, and out in front of parents, but it crosses over, and we've encountered some of it, but it's just the residual of dealing with some of the things in different parts of the state. So, it's not a bad thing, pretty easy, paperwork wise. It'll be acknowledged on their summary page of their, Infinite Campus, so their parents will actually be able to see too that it matches what we have and we have a system to put it in.
All right, and the last one is awarding homeschool online learning credits. This is part of board policy 2413, and it's something we had a discussion at in our admin meeting, but I'll let Carl go ahead.
So a lot of discussion at the principals meetings in the region, at the state level. You're seeing a lot of students transition to a homeschool setting or some type of online setting. Montana does not have approved homeschool accredited through they don't have homeschools that are accredited through the state. And what we're seeing is that these kids are, some kids that are going off-site, and choosing to go that route are finishing these courses, but there's no actual documentation of what it is or standards to what they're meeting. And we have to find a way to kind of combat that because our curriculum is designed and builds on itself. So whether it's they're avoiding a teacher or avoiding school, whatever it is, maybe they want to come back and they want to participate as juniors and seniors to try to get to that graduation piece. They don't have the required knowledge that the rest of the kids have. And then to bring those courses in, we have to make sure we have a system. We already have a board policy, and Tom can, what is the board policy?
2413.
2413 that states that we have a system to do this. Essentially, if it's homeschool, it is a committee that meets and then can ask for certain documentation, whether it be hours, curriculum outlines, what they've learned, up to we can have them actually take tests for corresponding courses. So if they've taken algebra and want credit for algebra, we can administer algebra 1, semester 1 and semester 2 exams. If they pass them, we would award credit based on that. If they don't, then we're not required to award credit, and they would have to retake those courses, and that would go all the way through. But we're starting to see this as kids in families who have navigated those waters and then are returning their kids to public education. They'll come in and they'll have a ton of courses, and either how they have completed them, or they'll have A's in all of them, right, which then challenges our honors and valedictorian pathways, because they come back in with 4.0s, and they're taking courses that, and we've seen it, and we're not blind to it. We use a credit recovery program that we weren't happy with, that families are using. It's a CELIS. There's a lot of problems with the CELIS, but we've seen kids complete semester-long courses in a matter of hours in the system that they have. That's why we don't utilize it anymore, because the rigor and the restrictions and the things that it was doing have changed. So it's a weird battle that we have to fight, but we're going to see it, and it's going to probably get ugly as people don't, right? They have it's now the parental rights and what the school has to do. Right? I have the right to homeschool my kid. You have to give them all this stuff, and what we've gotten from our groups in the state is, you don't. You guys, you're the public school. You set the standard of what it is, and they mean it or they don't. So
How have you guys been doing grades?
how have we?
Yeah, how does it work with,
When people return,
yeah,
we do our best. A lot of times, and it sounds bad, a lot of kids that come back from those settings, they don't have credits. They didn't do, some of them, I shouldn't say a lot of them, some of them haven't done anything. It starts off great, they finish their weekly work, their parents are happy, week 3 hits, just like, I'm no different. I'm a principal, and I can tell you that my kid has gotten up and said, oh shoot, I had homework last night, and we scramble at the dinner table, right? The same thing happens in those home settings, is that, well, they were good for 3 weeks, and I figured they were going to continue to go, and they didn't. So a lot of times we don't have to worry about that. We just have to figure out how to get them caught up in our system. For some of them that do come back and they've done stuff, sometimes they don't. It doesn't necessarily articulate into our required credits. So they've taken in our class that we don't offer, like art appreciation or something like that. It's like, okay, it's a fine arts. They got something. We can justify the hours piece. We have our art teacher maybe look at what the curriculum was, or it's half a credit. So then we jump back into music or something like that, so that they get the rest of their fine arts credit. Usually they stick it off for another year, so it's not a big deal. It's elective credit. So we kind of balance those, but like our cores, we don't really deal with a whole lot because they don't finish them typically.
do you have any students doing any hybrid school? Are there some
You mean
kids
like
that,
where they're coming on site for all
Yeah.
the art?
just for a couple classes? No.
No, we will next year. We have a couple that we're doing it through.
I've seen it in
the
other
school.
places in the country, I just didn't know if it was
Yeah,
something that we're
yeah,
doing.
it's coming.
It's coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's been some legislature that's passed that it's just the logistics of figuring it out.
Right.
And that's hard. And that's part of, and within our strategic plan, it's part of the discussion that goes inside of that, right? Because if they're coming in and they're kicking like if the class is full, who gets to be in, those types of things, we have to have all of that in place too.
And maybe this is in the board policy, but is there anything that clarifies that you have the final say, or the committee has the final say?
Yeah.
That's in the board policy?
Yeah.
Okay.
and has there been pushback on it?
No, we're
Not
just
yet.
trying to get ahead of it.
Not yet.
And
There will be.
we want to add something in the handbook so that it's there, so that they see it.
Yeah,
It's really hard to pick up, like to go even on the website and look at board policy. I mean, I'm sure that you guys have looked at it some, right? Is that?
it's a lot.
Yeah, and which one pertains, and then it quotes Montana code and this policy, and then by the time you backtrack, you lose track of where it's at. So it's something up front that we can add in that they understand what our process is and they'll have to follow it, so.
Cool.
The honor students, you talked about like kids that are homeschooling, they come in and they're right up there with our kids that have been there for 4 years. Is there a way to separate that? That says like, if you haven't been attending Sidney High School for 4 years, I'm sorry, you're not speaking at graduation. Like,
Yeah, there's been, in other districts.
I mean, I don't think it should be a thing. Like,
Yeah.
you didn't attend, I'm sorry, that's.
Yeah, so we look at our honors program, pretty much every year. We pull, like Glasgow's, Glendive's, the larger schools that are around us that are similar. Glendive has a policy like that, like if you're off-site, if you're not in attendance your final 2 years and have taken the honors courses, like you're not in the running for valedictorian. and salutatorian, yeah. And that's something that we can add in, and we changed our honors program, like this year, we're adding in that AP stats class, because we added it this year, which is a great offering.
That's a great class.
Yeah, and just finding a way to do that, so that's pretty easy, and we can do something like that, and I can draft something up before.
Yeah,
so
I'd like to
we're
see
ready
that.
go.
I mean, my kid's by no means an honor student, but I don't think a kid that's spent 4 years, even as my kid's struggling through 4 years, like, I think if you've managed to make it 4 years through the whole high school system, there should be a level of, like, you're up here versus down here. I don't care how good you did on online, because just from watching the online stuff for the last 2 weeks that my kid's been doing, like,
Yeah, and that's
I could sit at the computer and do that, and I have no idea what he's even doing these days.
Yeah, and that's why we run it as credit recovery, not original credit, right? That they've been through courses, and it's a good supplement. It's a lot of it is not a good base. It doesn't work for that system, and the comparison isn't the same, right? Our kids come to school every day, and they go through classes, and they have a curriculum that's dedicated, that they're supposed to be getting something throughout. And then you have a kid who comes in and says, well, I took personal finance and I did it in 3 hours. And it's like, that's not the same thing as going to Mr. Bain's class for a semester and having the Edward Jones consultants and the car salespeople come in and the bankers and the lawyers and and get those hands-on experiences and the requirements that come after those. They're not the same experience, and they're not reflective of the same thing.
I'd like to see something like that, Carl, to where
Yeah.
if you do online and you want to hang out at home for 2 years,
Yep.
don't expect to come back your senior year and
Yep.
be at the top of the
Back
list.
when I was a counselor, that was in the program, I don't think it was ever board policy, that they had to participate the last 2 years, they had to be, so even if we had a student transfer into our district their senior year, they still didn't qualify for the honors program, even if they were been in school at the honors.
I can tell you that we had a student who left our district for studying abroad and came back and wanted to be part of that, and we made them take all of the junior level courses their senior year, so that there was no distinction between the two for anybody to complain, so that they could participate in the honors and be recognized as honors, so that they were apples to apples, which was a lot for that student to come back and have that workload on. But that's what we told them, like, this is the standard, and if you don't have it, we can't recognize it as the same, and they chose to do it. So we have something that's kind of already there, but we can get it in writing for sure.
Thank you.
All right, and the last change that they had was in the honors pathway on page 99. The current says 3 years of math must include pre-calc, 4 years of science, or 4 years of math must include pre-calc and 3 years of science. The change is now 3 years of math must include pre-calc and 4 years of science, or 4 years of math must include AP statistics or pre-calc and 3 years of science. So that's the only change.
How many years have we had this honors curriculum? It's been, because it was implemented after I got on board.
Oh yeah, we've changed it.
It's been changed. We had honors curriculum back when I was counseling back in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 2 years ago, we did a revamp.
Well, I know you did it, but we didn't have it for a while. They didn't have one.
Oh, they've had it since I was in high school, yeah. So 15, 17 years, way before that. It was just more cumbersome. It wasn't streamlined. And then what we ended up with is that you would kind of pick and choose, and depending on who was teaching and who replaced who.
Right.
We would have to revamp it every time. So then what we decided and what our teachers looked at was, what is the baseline? And then we can add on to that, and that's what they came up with. So we have advanced English for 11th through 12th graders. The pre-calc standard, we didn't offer an AP stats, we offered an entry-level stats, which was pretty low level. With this one, they can get college credit. The math department feels like it's on par with the pre-calc. One thing that they don't want to do is they don't want to diminish our math. Like, we're one of the only schools in the state, even at the Class A level, that offers calculus at the level that we do for dual credit. So they don't want to see that necessarily go away. But just where people are going to school, the stats is it's one or the other, and giving them that option is a big plus for us as a school district. And Ms. Bell went and utilized her professional development over the last 2 years to develop this and get certified to be able to teach it. So it's a great thing.
All right, each year, building administrators review student handbooks, make recommendations to the superintendent for changes to the handbook for the following school year. All changes to the board policy and state law are considered when making changes to the handbook. This year, there were very few changes that needed to be made due to changes in board policy. Recommendations to approve the suggested changes for high school handbook as discussed and provided for the 26-27 school year.
Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
Second?
I'll second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Lisa? Amber had to step away. Guess Lisa's not on. Alright, we're good. We got 5.
Alright, that is all I have for the next agenda. We're looking at, the MOU with the Boys and Girls Club for busing and the contract for school psychologists. And we'll probably have a couple new hires.
I have just a question, and this was in some of the stuff that we kind of skipped over.
Yes.
So like page 13, 14 of this district strategic planning that we're keeping in place, how is it decided like when to add another teacher, when we have too many teachers for a class, who okays it, that kind of thing?
We do.
Can I just get some background on that?
I can, because we're actually running through that right now. For example, this last school year, we had 23 students in our K-1 program, and that's
a
doable
problem.
with 3 sessions. Next year, we're looking at 37 students that have already qualified for K-1, and we still have more to test. So we were looking at cutting that half-time position for K-1, now we're looking at adding a full-time position for that K-1 position. So we kind of look at the numbers as best we can. You're gonna have, the problem is, like, we have one class of 68 going through, so we don't need all the teachers that are in the next grade level, but then the class behind them has 92 in it. And so we look at what the state allows us to have per classroom, and we try to leave ourselves a little bit of wiggle room so that if we have students transfer in, we're not trying to find aides to go into the classroom.
I mean, my question probably specifically is about is about the 5th grade class going into 5th grade next year. They've added an additional
That's
teacher.
large, yep, they've
added an additional, and from what I've heard, they're not adding one next year. So I was curious
Yeah.
what the process is behind that. They had about 20 to 21 students per class in 5 classes, and they're going to 4. And so,
They're gonna be looking at, of course, that number went down from 107 that they originally had. They're down under 100 now for that grade level. So they'll be looking probably about 25 students per grade level there. They can go up to 30.
Yeah, each grade level has a different, like,
right,
set.
so that's like, okay, so the limit is they can't go above 30, but then we have these like goals, and those are different, right? And so the goal says like 23, so which one do we go by?
The goals are, help us when we have out-of-district transfers want to come into our district. Our goals are 23, we may not achieve our goal, we may end up having to go over that, but then that means we would deny any transfer that came into our district because we're already over our goal for what we had set for that.
We could do that.
Yeah, and the transfers aren't people that move into the district. It's people
Right,
from
these are
outside
people
the
from
district.
outside the district that want to come into our school.
And that's why we try to go under, so if it's 30, we try to stay at, 26 or 27, so that if people do move in, either, in August or even during the school year, we don't go over that number. And there's ways around, not ways around it, there's ways to deal with that. So if you had 32 kids, you just have to have a para in there with
Yeah,
them.
we'd have to hire an aide, and
Yeah.
there's specific hours that they have to work based upon how many students over the maximum we are.
And an important part of that conversation too, Aaron, is that those out-of-district students that can petition to come in, if you don't have those in place, you don't have, the state legislature took away a lot of the rights of the school district and the board of trustees at the local level to make those determinations, unless you have those things in place. So then we looked at our historic numbers and said, this is where we like to function, this is good for kids.
Yeah,
And then we have.
to me, 27 to 28 kids per classroom is a lot,
Yeah.
a lot. And I know this class, this is obviously where my son's in, but in 3rd grade, they brought in a teacher partway through the year and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Just pulling kids out of classes that they're already, so I guess my idea is like what's the thought process behind it? Is there,
Yeah,
You know,
it's
when do
literally
we
just
add in
looking at
teacher?
numbers. It's looking at numbers and obviously budget too. We've had some time in the last 10 years where we probably got a little aggressive, where our class size were like half. And then we're, paying a couple teachers out of the flex fund as opposed to the general fund. So, it's like you had to cut back. It's literally a balance.
it's I'm sure every year it's just, you're moving people around and that's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah, and then you have like those big classes where it's like, okay, we'll hire an extra 1st grade teacher, and then guess what? She's moving to 2nd grade, and then she's moving to 3rd grade, and then, you get to that point where now you don't need that extra teacher, so can we absorb them, due to a retirement or someone leaving, or, we've had teachers take a year off, you know, which,
Yep.
you know, gave us that opening that we needed, but then they're coming back, and so, yeah, it's, in the past we've had, I think last year we did it, obviously this year things are changing in the district, we've had where essentially we get a report of like, here was last year's numbers, here's what we're looking at, you know, next year, as the kids all bump down, and what the, you know, how many teachers and stuff, cause again, there was like, when I first got on the board, we were struggling to get teachers, and we haven't really had that issue lately, but we did get a little aggressive at hiring, where it's like, okay, we're at like half, and,
Well, yeah, and at 15, but I mean, I guess for that class, I'm concerned.
yeah, yeah.
I am very concerned, because it's a,
And part of the transfer thing, we have that policy now that we've changed, where we have a cutoff date, where ours is actually pretty late. Like, there's AA schools that are like, if you plan on transferring from out of district, you gotta let us know, like, in December,
Yeah.
that you're gonna want to next August.
Mhm.
And that's an annual thing that they have to do anyway, so if someone from Fairview, Savage, Lambert, whatever, wanna come to the district, annually, they have to request. And we don't have to accept them based on some of our stuff, like if our numbers say that we can't, you know, that will put us out of accreditation or out of our goal in our strategic plan, then we can say, sorry, you know, even though you've been here 3 years, you know, we just don't have room. You know, so there's a lot of that, and that's also why we've set kind of a time frame on when the cutoff is for out of district requests. And we set it of when we have our normal, like, sign up for schools. Like, we're not crazy about it, it's like, okay, signups is, you know, this year they did it in May, usually we do it in July or whatever, so it's like 28th of July, that's the cutoff. If you're from out of district and you want in, and you come in August, too late, you know, you have to wait a year, that's just,
And we left it this year in
Yeah.
July, just so that we could broadcast it, to families that it was the same. But like, we went to May because the last 2 years we've come in July, and all these requests come in, and we're literally sitting there going, we don't have enough 5th grade teachers, we gotta figure something out. Now are we hiring in
well,
July
yeah, that's the
versus
thing, it's
hiring
like, this isn't something you wanna
July 1, you know?
figure
It's
out
hard.
in August,
But
you
like
know?
registration, we had really good luck at the high school, West Side did okay, Central was a bit like, it wasn't very good.
yeah.
And they just didn't have families come in and register kids.
They're doing another registration on July 20th.
Yep, but yeah, and that's why we kind of try to leave a little bit of that room as part of our goals, you know, is just so that when people do move in, we're not, you know,
So on July 20th, if there's a whole bunch of 5th graders all of a sudden, then do they look at getting another teacher? Like, when do?
Either that or we look
What's the
at
number?
aides
You
to
know what I
work in
mean?
the classrooms.
So if we hire internally for this VP position, then that person's position is gonna need to be filled.
potentially, yeah.
Potentially, yes.
I mean, again, it's numbers. I mean, like I said, we've had years where grade school classes were basically at half capacity. You know, and you have 4 teachers, they're all at half. Well, you could go to 3 and still be well within, you know, accreditation. So, I mean, I'm not saying we're at that point right now, but, you know, there are some things within accreditation that we are in excess still, different positions. So, you know, there could be some movement that people may not like, if need be. You know, we do have a little bit of flexibility with that, and obviously if we did need another teacher, we would hope to find one. You know, sometimes you get lucky and,
We interviewed for the K1 position today and offered the position to the teacher coming in from Missoula, transferring into Sidney, husband's transferring to Sidney.
good.
And we have one from Big Timber that has contacted us about possibly transferring with her husband out here.
And I think looking at class, especially those little kids, is really important in terms of teacher retention. There's been a lot of turnover in that what's the full day, K2?
K2.
And because, you know, you have a class, if you have kindergartners, you have 25 of them in there, you might not be coming back next year, you know?
And I don't think, there's like 21 or something.
20s.
Yeah.
Even that is, yeah, that's a lot, so I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, that has been a discussion though. Sarah has talked to both Mr. Sukut and myself about the potential of wanting an additional 5th grade teacher.
Okay, just,
I guess,
sometimes if I don't know the process behind it, I don't know,
Mhm.
Well,
you know, how it
and-
works, and I need to know that.
I would say if we get a whole lot more with that group, we'll have to see, even before school starts, potentially bring. But the nice thing is there are a couple moving into the district with their spouses that give us the opportunity if we have to wait to
yeah, I would just hope it's on people's radar, cause I think it could be an issue.
Good question. Any other questions?
Anything else? On the phone?
Let us
Nope.
know when you're gonna set up interviews for a VP.
Yes, I will do that. I would like to keep the position, we just opened it late, like Thursday of last week, I'd like to keep it open for a couple weeks to see what we get in, and then interview after that.
Are both applicants internal right now?
No, one internal, one external. Same with the clerk position, that's been open, and I wanna see what we get for a couple weeks before we
Yeah,
can
for
make a
sure.
decision for that.
I got a emergency.
Yeah, and I would say, probably if two board members, especially since
Yeah.
we probably have a smaller group of admin,
Yeah, I know for sure two admin are out because they wrote letters of recommendation for
Right.
the internal candidate.
yeah, so one or two board
And
members.
one other one I may take out because of a conflict of interest from back a few years ago, that they know the person really well.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'd say, one or two, and if you're interested, let them know, and obviously, hopefully you can make all the sessions.
Yeah,
Cause that's kinda key. We've had that before where you make,
We don't make-
you make one of 4 interviews and,
Yeah.
and so you really don't have the
alright,
input.
and other than that, be thinking about, Friday or Saturday, I'll be here from 9 to noon both days, if you wanna stop in, if you wanna come in and hears, that's fine. We just don't wanna go to more than 2, because I don't wanna get into any potential
You're good with 3.
issues. Okay, if you have two friends and you wanna bring them.
You just can't go 4.
I think I could try to come in at 9, we're leaving town at 10, so,
On Saturday,
Friday,
on Friday?
yeah, we're gonna be gone the
I
rest
can
of the
get, be here earlier, I'm usually here at 8.
Okay.
I could probably be here at 8 on Friday, but I can't be here at 9. I have a bride at 9.
Um,
Okay.
I would do 8.
Board members
On
and
Friday,
one-
That's fine,
Okay.
I'm usually here by 8 anyways.
So you're just hoping to do it Friday or
During the
Saturday?
summer, during
I'll
the
meet you here at
school
8,
year,
yeah.
we by 7.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, like I said, I'll come in Friday at 10 when I get back into town. If someone else is available for then, that's fine too.
And like convince Brandon.
Yeah.
Okay, anything else?
Got appliances this weekend.
Going once, come twice?
That's all.
Thanks.